Hello everyone, welcome to another video on Blender Geometry Nodes. Today we will see about the main nodes which you will see when you try to create any kind of geometry using the geometry nodes. Yes, the group input node and group output node. I release new video on a weekly basis. Please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so that you will be notified when I upload a new one. This is Jay from CJ Academy. Let's start it. Okay, let's go to the geometry nodes. Yeah. Before that, I'll open the screencast keys so that you can see which keys I'm pressing. So when you go to the geometry nodes, you see there's a default cube is created when you create the new file, and the modifier, when you click here, you get this, the two nodes which you are going to see today, the group input node, group output node. This is connected to the geometry which you create here. If I delete this geometry, the connected geometry nodes is gone. And if I say I add another geometry here, you get this option again and you can create it, but you can see it's already renamed to 1.001. That means the already existing geometry node is still there, okay, but it doesn't have the geometry to it. So that's the reason why you don't see it. So this is by default connected to the geometry you created here. So here if you see it's circle and this geometry node is connected to this circle. Let's delete it again and bring the cube back. Okay, yeah. So here you have two geometry nodes, and this difference between this new and add modifier is different because when you click here, you are establishing the geometry node modifier, but you have not created the geometry node yet. To to simplify it, when you click on this new button, it creates this add modifier option and also this new button. That's why you get it. So since the geometry nodes are not connected, there is no other geometry to it. So we can connect the very first one which was created back to this original one. Okay, now we are back at where we started. So group input node, group output node. To explain it, these two nodes in a better way, I'll just disconnect this because we want to create a similar data without that. I'll just go for, yeah, you can go like this or you can just type it cube, mesh primitive cube is what we need. So this data is almost same as the group input node by default what we have. Okay, I want to create a plane now, but if you search for a plane in a geometry node, you don't have it because the plane is nothing but when you see the z-axis or any one of the axis is 0, you get a plane. So there is no a separate entry for it needed. So we have a plane here. What I will do is I'll go with the noise texture to explain how the group input node, group output node works and what or how it is helpful. So to have the noise texture to work, you need set position node. I'll create or add the set position here, and for this offset, you need the noise texture. Noise texture, color. Yeah, color or anything is fine. Color or factorial both are fine. So see, it's already connected. So this is one way to quickly connect any of the socket you see in geometry nodes. The relevant information for that geometry socket will be available in the list. So we already connected here, but you see this is not displaced properly. The main reason is there is no subdivision or not enough points available. The set position node, what it does is it provides the detail of position attribute of each of the vertices. Okay, but right now we don't have enough. That's why you don't see the displacement like a landscape. So we want to create a landscape here. Let's say subdivide the mesh operation, subdivide. You can see now it's already seeing some difference here, and I want to keep it grounded, so let's keep it reddish, yeah, to the grounded, and subdivision we need to increase, and the size is something we need to expand because it's not enough. Okay, and for noise texture, usually scale is not that much needed. We can keep it below 1. You can see how the difference it makes. See, so let's say we keep it this level, and yeah, if we add the shade smooth, we got a good displacement. But right now the intention is not to get a perfect landscape. We want to explain about the group input group output node, so we don't focus much on that, so I'll keep it aside. So a group input node, if you see, we had a cube in the initial stage that is still there, it's not gone. But a group input node at very first level is not that important, because you can get any kind of initial geometry using the geometry nodes. You have all the mesh primitives, curve primitives, all of them are available. The real benefit or the real importance of group input node is shown when you go for multiple modifier stack. I have covered this geometry in a previous video called fields in geometry nodes. I'll give you the link in the description. You can see in detail how this landscape properly done along with the mountain. So here we will bring the mountain in a different stack. So I'll create one more modifier here, geometry node modifier here as a next stack, and I'll give the input node. Now I'll show you the difference. The group output of this modifier is fed into the next modifier as group input. So if I remove this now and I want to recreate this same setup, then I'll have to go through the process again, right? So I'll have to get the cube and do all the things I have done before in the previous geometry node group. So this is where the group input node power we realize. Now if I connect this, it already has the information from the previous geometry. So I'll keep it disconnected for now. Now we want to create the mountain. That means we need a cone as the initial setup, and we want to connect it. Yes, same as what we did before. Set position node to get the position attribute. I have covered the attributes in a separate video as well. What is actually an attribute and how to manipulate it, how to access it. So I'll give you the link in the description to that video as well. So attributes and fields is key aspects. Before you get into geometry nodes, you need to understand about attributes and fields. Okay, now we'll get the noise texture, same as before. Color will connect to the offset, so you can see I'll get the rigid so it stays in the same position. So we need enough side segments also to have a proper displacement, but here as usual we want to keep it under 1. Yes, yeah, 0.9, 0.7, yeah, this is fine. So it's too sharp. Let's reduce some of that with the radius at the top. Okay, fill segments will keep it at 8, and to get even a better displacement, we will bring this up to 64. Okay, so we have enough segments here. It's displaced already. To get it realized as a mountain, we can get the radius to 2, and depth a little bit will increase, maybe 2.5 or 3. Let's see. Yeah, 2.5 is also fine, or maybe 3. Yeah, okay. So some kind of mountain, let's say. Okay, now we'll not too much focus on that. I'll get the shade smooth here. So yes, we got some kind of mountain kind of structure. Now the real power is of group input is you have the data from previous geometry nodes stored just in one node, and you want to connect this and the mountain together. So we'll add a join geometry node. So we want to connect these two geometries. Okay, and then connect this to the join geometry node. Yeah, the reason why you don't see it is I think this is hidden under this. So you can either do this modification here or in the previous stack. So I'll do it here only. That is transform geometry is not needed. Scale is enough because we are not going to do any other operation. But transform geometry is better, I'd say. So you can see here. I'm just increasing the size of the whole mountain setup. Let's keep it to 4, right? So that we get a decent size. So with two modifier stack and the group input and group output node, we have created the landscape and the mountain together. And if we go for the full lighting view, you can see some kind of, yeah, with the shades and all the things. Okay. Now there is one more aspect to the group input node. Let's say this is, we are in the first geometry node setup, that is for the landscape. For landscape, if you increase the detailing level, it increases the yeah, the amount of landscape you can get. So group input node handles all the data, so you don't have to keep it in one place and connect everything to single socket or single node. You can duplicate it and connect any number of times. It's all connected and displayed here. So level is needed. Let's say intensity or the scale of this is also needed. Shift D to duplicate it and get this scale to the new empty socket. So if you see this socket, it can take geometry or a property or even a field value. So this is called field, this is called a property, and this is called geometry. So rhombus is field. Um, so field value is also exposed here. So same way, if you see the previous one which I added here is added here, and this also is exposed here. Same way you can connect it to anywhere and get that property values to the modifier stack. And let's say even the size is needed, right? So we'll shift D and get this also here and get the size also connected. Same way you can do for the mountain as well. We go to the mountain, what is needed? Mountain height is needed, right? So that is the group input node. You can duplicate it. So this will help you with the organizing the nodes in a better way. Instead of connecting all the necessary ones to single group input node, you can duplicate them and keep it here. So depth will be the height. Okay, that is one. And since yeah, this is also fine. Height of the mountain, scaling factor we have added. So mount, this is landscape scale, right? So let's bring this also here. And scale factor also will expose. This is for the landscape. So we want to be careful what we are adding where. So right now if you see, we have 3 and 2 set of properties all exposed in the modifier stack. If you want to rename them, this is still possible. And this is one more aspect of group input to group output node no advantage. So when you add something in the group input and group output as an entry, you will see them under the group section of the modifier stack window. If you see here, this means output, this means input. Okay, we are, you have to be careful which modifier you have selected. Based on that, the data will differ. So we'll select this first, then this differs. And we have level. Level is nothing but subdivision, so that means we can keep this as detailing, let's say, for example. And detailing, and you can choose a description to it. So detailing is done. So if you want to add a tooltip to that, you can add it below that. But for each selection, this varies. So this is integer value. So I'll go here and add decides the detailing of landscape. So if you go and hover over the value, you will see the text that I added now. So same for scale. Scale is nothing but intensity or yeah, something like that. Let's say intensity of uh, landscape, something like that. Size will be, you can keep this also, size of landscape. Okay, so now if you hover over the values, you will see the data that we have given. Okay, same you can do it for the other modifier stack. Okay, so the group input node and all the data you have added to that in both modifier stack can be exposed here, and the further details of that you can modify. So right now I only shown the how to change the name and what a description you can give, but you have some more settings you can explore. For example, the default value, what it should be, and what is the range of it. So this means infinity. If you want to keep it in certain level, you can keep it. For example, the detailing doesn't need that much because this is subdivision. The maximum range will be, yeah, till 6. So default we can keep 3, minimum we can keep 2. So then you cannot go beyond 2. See, below 2 I cannot go. So minimum is 2. Okay, default is 3. Let's keep it. So same way you can control it for uh, other properties you have exposed in the geometry stack. So this is for group input. Now group output node also you can control similar way. You can add data to it in this socket, where which property you want, but this is more of an advanced way to use. Right now the group input node you can use in that way, but we will cover the group output node custom properties in a separate video. Group input node, group output node are key factor or key nodes in any geometry nodes stack you use, because maybe for the first geometry node you use or you create, the group input node may not be that important apart from handling the extra properties, but as soon as you start stacking up more modifiers in the list, the group input node plays a very critical role, so in transferring the data. Yeah, that's about group input node and group output node. Very simple but it very powerful in lot of modifier stack if comes into the picture. Okay, if you like this video and if you find this video useful, please like it and share it with your colleagues, and subscribe to my channel to get more informative videos like this. Thank you everyone. I'll see you in another video. Bye.